problem with Cartoon Smackdown. Well, first off, all the characters are unbalances. Like, I was in a call with one of the devs, right? And they were like, I'll just nerf Omni, I'll nerf so-and-so character anytime I want. Like, they have to go through a whole balance change because they can't buff and nerf like a character properly on release. You see, I tried to help with that, right? Because they're making Patrick sooner or later. You know, I thought it was going to help him more. And the guy was like, how should I make Patrick? And the dude wanted to give him Payne's Universal Pull from pre-nerf, like ABA. And I was like, yeah, you really don't want to go down that road, Chief, bro. Like, he's like, oh, I'll just nerf it later. Like, that's not a good mentality to have. It's like kind of like an ABA mentality. If the character's busted at launch, people want him.
So starting off with the first point, how he says all the characters are OP or broken or in somewhat way are broken. They're totally not. Characters like SpongeBob, Patrick, Gumball, Mordecai, even the starter characters are not good to play with, and you're never going to get like the top one game if you pick them, because not only is every move perfect blockable, which I will talk about later on in the video, they don't do good amounts of damage. Like, I guess you could say Mordecai and the Fist of Justice would do a lot of damage, but you could just block everything. But no, not every character is overpowered, and even though they do take a long time to nerf and buff stuff, it's because the game's not as popular, so I don't think they're making as much money as they did before, so they don't have enough devs and coders to do this shit. And you're talking as if they don't care at all. They just don't. They might not even have the money to do it because the game's slowly dying every day. Like, it has like what 100 people playing, not even 1,000, which would help the developers because that'd make them more encouraged. Like Troublesome Battlegrounds, where they used to have a player base of 3,000, and that slowly decreased because they took too long to make updates that were sort of a letdown, like Awakenings, that aren't even as fun as because mostly half the Awakenings are bad. But these guys are trying. They're like Troublesome Battlegrounds. They're not going to stop updating no matter what player base they have. And I'm guessing, I'm guessing that with their financial situation, they're not going to be posting as much as is, or some people are going to be off a break. And if you say that, oh, well, I'm going to make this later, because they most likely are, they're not going to completely set it aside. They're not going to completely forget about their game like Uzu did whenever he updates a game and completely says, I'm going to cop out and just leave now. These guys, even with the dying player base, it still amazes me how they're releasing updates, and I'd give them credit for that.
So, Omni-Man has 4 combo extenders in his base, all of which do over 15 damage. How is that balanced? Please, like, those devs need to, like, get off their fucking perch and actually look at their game for what it is.
Okay, so starting with this guy's point on Omni-Man and how he has a lot of combo extenders, I get the point where, yes, the combo extenders are ridiculously long and that you could combo off of anything because the stun is really long in this game. Everything seems to be perfect blockable, which it really shouldn't be. Barrages should not be perfect blockable. Fucking projectiles shouldn't be perfect blockable. That doesn't make sense, including ABA. You make projectiles perfect blockable, which still does not make sense. But in this case for Omni-Man, he is terrible on main game. If you think you're going to play Juggernaut and completely destroy people like in that one scene where he killed all the Guardians, you need to cope. You have a coping mechanism, my pal, because you're not going to get that. I've played Jug, and the only way how to win is by having characters with a barrage like Richard or Jake, or unless you have Rigby, where he is completely busted. I argue that he's the only busted character in the game, and it's not Mordecai, because he can completely be just countered if you run away. Even if he does have the Fist of Power, whatever it's called, you could still end up running away from his cart half the time and not take the 45-90% damage combo, which just includes the rush and the cart. And I never seen that being used on anyone else because it's really hard to hit, and most people just end up driving into you and never launching the cart into you at all. But for Omni-Man, he's only good in 1v1s, and I kind of see why he thinks there's a bias, quote-unquote bias, on him not being nerfed. But in this case, man, he actually still needs to keep the moves because he cannot handle 2 people. The M1 stuns are ridiculously long, and I would agree that the stuns are super bad in this game. They are awful. I don't think a stun should at least be 3 seconds long, or at least when you get punched. You shouldn't be stuck like 3 seconds long like old YBA, or what's another good example? I think, or like Troublesome Battlegrounds. They have a really bad stun. But in this case, everything's perfect blockable, which doesn't make sense. I think what would be good is if they were to specify what moves should and shouldn't be perfect blockable. The cape, I mean, any counters. I don't know why you could perfect block counters. It's totally possible and it's stupid. But I feel like moves where the beatdown move that Batman has when you swoop up into the glider, that should be perfect blockable. Air is fair, that should be perfect blockable. The Jake's grapple move, that should be perfect blockable. Gumball's SJW sword, that should be perfect blockable. Finn's uppercut, that should be perfect blockable. A lot of moves should just be either it breaks block, but the break block system, you can't really tell when you break block because it's sort of impossible because characters do different animations and it's really hard to tell, oh, is he blocking? Is he doing that? And you could actually combo someone off if you hold block and they do M1s. You could M1 that guy back and end up doing a massive combo, which is really bad balancing because you could take like 6 hits from a block and and you could dash out with block too. You could hold block and dash at the same time, which you shouldn't be. And it's completely broken for Juggernaut because I've been able to win. I always win Juggernaut because I pick Rigby. And it's super easy. I don't have Omni-Man, but I've seen Omni-Mans be Juggernaut, and they completely get destroyed because they cannot handle multiple people at the same time. And when this guy's rambling about he's being OP, he's not being balanced because he still needs to be kept the same. I mean, I guess you could rework the moves because he does do a lot more in the animated show, which is pretty cool. I mean, I guess one move that could be cool where he brings multiple people by just dashing into him and slamming him into any nearby object. Or at least goes through buildings like the park building or whatever the fuck it is. You just go through that and do at least 15 damage per 2 seconds for every object you hit, carrying at least multiple people, stacking it so you could do more damage to more people. Which I guess could remove the Thunderdome because that move is kind of OP. But perfect blocking it, you don't even need a perfect block half the time. Hell, you could hold down block and that still counts as a perfect block for some other reason. But in this case, no, he's not OP. He still needs to keep the moves. I guess you could rework some moves and give him some passives that will make him better. But I don't get the point of him saying nerf this, nerf that. A lot of characters are pretty fixed and are actually pretty bad. Gumball's pretty bad to begin with. You can completely mess up his whole entire awakening because he charges it for like what, 3 seconds? You could do any move to him, any projectile, and that'll stun him. So basically an effective perfect block. And it's just not good. It's terrible. So no, that's a horrible idea. I wouldn't nerf him, and he's only good for 1v1 situations. Hell, you could put him on a team-based match mode, and a lot of the time the matchmaking is super broken. A lot of games don't do auto balancing like ABA or for example this game. They never do balancing, or like Retropus Battlegrounds. Also another game that doesn't do auto balance. They don't make it so that the team's balanced. So usually they'll get their ass beat if it's a 2v3 situation or 3v4, and they won't be able to combo because some other guy or goober is going to come in and just stop your combo because M1s are super long and the M1 range on characters is stupidly big. So no, terrible idea. You're just being mad that you get comboed off of a lot of Omni-Man characters. In reality, he's actually trash. So please, I get where you're coming from. He's kind of annoying when you do MV1s, but in reality, he's a terrible character in main game.
I don't understand why they don't just add damage scaling or something like that. Like a simple solution to a lot of these fighting games that want like a lot of combo extenders is just adding a damage scaling system.
Fuck you say?
So now he brings up the point with damage scaling. Does he not realize how boring and how awful that's going to be in a Roblox game? Like, for one, you don't need to take a game that seriously. It's a Roblox. It's a Lego game, for God's sake. You're taking it as if this is Mortal Kombat type shit, where you could break out of combos. And I think Mortal Kombat does have damage scaling. But in terms like as of this, is terrible. I want to have fun when I'm doing combos. I want to do a one-hit combo because some dumbass tried to use the power on Rigby. I want to fucking punish someone if they did air is fair to me and I perfect block it. You deserve to get punished for that amount of damage. It is not undeserved. It is not good for the game. It is terrible. I feel like this would kill any game because it just sucks. No one wants to have a set amount of damage. Look at YBA with the stupid ass damage TS cap. 50% damage. I could be below 50% damage and the guy would not be able to do any damage to me because I either barely get affected by it or I end up having a quarter of health, which I could still live and walk away. A system like that literally made YBA terrible with TS, and it's still not fun to play YBA as of now with how buggy and laggy and glitchy it is. A system like this is not good for a game. It is not good for any game whatsoever. Call of Duty with the guns, maybe, because they have that with weapons, but in terms of this and of Mortal Kombat, no, we are not Mortal Kombat. This is a fucking Roblox game, and if you're taking it to that much extremes, you probably need to get off the computer. I'm not being rude. I'm just being honest, because if you think a system like that is so bad and has proven to ruin games, that is delusional, and I'm sorry, but it is delusional. I didn't review the rest of his video because this guy later goes on to rant about how there should be supporting characters, like how Patrick should have 3 supporting moves, which to me would be stupid, to be honest, because if it's just support moves, what about the offensive moves? You're going to have to kill someone. And this isn't that kind of fighting game. This isn't a shooter game. This isn't an MMO styled game. And basically passives are never used in ABA. Like Joseph's, like Josuke's healing support for his teammates when he punches you. I've never seen a Josuke use that, and when they do, that's usually when it's a 5v1 situation and the servers aren't auto-balanced. I don't think support is needed for this kind of game because I think a lot of characters have plenty of healing moves, and I don't think support is really needed because imagine getting a damage buff for your whole entire teammate. You know what happens? Your whole team wins the game, and that is not balanced either. So that change should just not be added at all. That's a terrible buff. Because imagine having a buff Richard while the Richard already buffed himself. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for anyone. Nor should that work. And the supporting argument for that is, oh, you should be able to use it in 2v2s, and Patrick would be trash because he doesn't have any support of anything. Why does that matter? Because I think the ability to heal yourself over and over again, or to get boosts over and over again, is not needed in a game like this. That's why there's literally not a lot of characters with support moves like Josuke, where he could heal people out of nowhere, and it's an unlimited cooldown, so you could heal people as much as you want. This does not belong in this kind of game. For me, there shouldn't be no support, no different roles of characters. This isn't an MMO game. This isn't Overwatch. This isn't Team Fortress 2. No, buffs and anything should not be included in this kind of fighting game. Neither should it be included in ABA, despite what game mode you're playing. Okay, so later on in the video, he talks about Gilgamesh and how unbalanced he is, and blah, 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 blah. Just blah, Gilgamesh is not that overpowered, Doppio is. But yeah, this guy's just completely mad that he can't fight Omni-Man. Because I feel like the only characters he does play is Omni-Man, and that's his whole point. And he doesn't play other characters to know that a lot more other characters are more overpowered than Omni-Man over here, thinking, damn, combo extenders, man. Combo extenders are the devil in games, man. They're the devil. No. No. I feel like the ability to stack damage onto multiple people and have them stunned is overpowered. Not Omni-Man, who is a 1v1 guy. You probably just play Omni-Man in 1v1s and just say, you know what, that character's too easy, but I'm not going to develop the skill to play other characters and judge them based off of what they can do for me, which a lot of them might be even better than Omni-Man himself. So no, this guy's a total nutcase when it comes to it, and is just basing it off of one guy and no one else. And I guess the whole, being able to pull Patrick in, he's out now, and that move, garbage, barely works, and you can never do a combo off of that one move. You could pull him in, it's the cookie move. You could pull in a character and never do a combo off of anyone because they can dash out of it still. It's super unbalanced because of how underbalanced it is and how bad it is as a move itself. So no, I don't even know why I even review this video. This guy is completely crazy. But no hate to you, okay? I love everyone, and I love all the YouTube creators that try their best to make content. And in this case, get a better mic. But later.